Shabbat Shalom. You were supposed to have Rabbi Schwartzman today, but she is unfortunately ill, and you know it's serious if she's letting me speak in her place. So we wish her well. She'll be back very soon, and you're stuck with me for another Shabbat, and I apologize. I'm going to start with a story of I worked at Camp Ramah in New England. So there's, for people who, we just talked about Camp Ramah, there are Camp Ramahs, Camps Ramah, all over the country, right? And they sort of have different geographical areas. So there's New England, you can guess where that is, although that's where the kids from DC go, I don't know, okay? There's Durham in the south, there's Berkshires in New York, there's, what's the best one that there is? There we go. All right. There's Poconos. That's where all of us go. They're all over. And I was a Rosh Dah, a unit head at Camp Ramah in New England for a few years. And my last year there, the assistant director and the director at the beginning of the summer, they said sort of, oh, by the way, Ethan, you're going to be the one that leads the sports trip to Berkshires this year. We're not going to go. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. I've got more responsibility. This is great. And then they both started laughing. And I didn't know why. And then I found out it's because, anyone here go to Palmer? Anyone here go to Berkshires? Yeah. Oh, yeah, right? So, okay, all right. So with all of your might, as a Berkshires camper, who do you hate more than anyone else in the world? Obviously, it's Palmer. Right, yes. Who knew that this rivalry has been going on for decades? And it is mean, and it is awful. And the reason why they sent me to go lead this trip was that it was like they didn't want to deal with being behind enemy lines for an entire, 3 days to do all of these sports. And it was on the way down to the bus, on the bus down, the kids were singing songs about how they were going to kill the people from Palmer and all the things they were going to do. And when we got off the bus, there were like booby traps set around where we were trying to get to. And at some point, I turned to these kids and I said, can you help me out? Why do you hate these children so much? And the staff too are like, yeah, we're going to beat them. And they can tell you who won the basketball game going back to 1984. They can tell you which years who won which game. Okay. And he said to me, well, Ethan, you don't understand because you're not from here. And I said, help me out. Please help me out. Why do you guys hate each other so much? And this kid goes, well, the kids in Berkshires, they're just really different from us. They're just so different, and that's why we don't like them. And I said, well, why? Because you're from the suburbs of New York, and they're from the suburbs of Boston? Like, what? How are they so different? And they insisted I just wouldn't understand. And the value and the vehemence of arbitrary differences is something that we see in a lot of places in our life. And it's something that we kind of love. It makes good stories, right? For those of you like me who enjoy a good fantasy novel, right? World building usually begins with dividing up the realm, right? Or dividing up the school, right? Oh, it's Slytherin, Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, and Ravenclaw, right? Because those are the only 4 options if you're a child, right? You're going to be either smart, brave, evil, or other. That's it. Those are your only options. You can be Game of Thrones works the same way, right? Lord of the Rings, all of these different novels, we create these boundaries and these barriers, and we love it. And we take tests, right? Which house would you be in if you were in Hogwarts, right? And we all walk around. By the way, raise a quiet and geeky hand if you know exactly which house you would be in if you were in. Yeah, okay. I've taken the test. That's right. Okay. I'm trying to level my references, guys, okay? We're going to get to everybody eventually. But it also can be more serious than that. If you've read the book The Wave, for example, we know that giving people arbitrary designations and dividing lines can lead to disastrous consequences also. And there's a scene in the parsha that we read this morning that not only elucidates this, but I actually think gives us something to think about. Because in our world today, we are dividing and divided, and we are continually dividing and divided. And the world that we live in with the polarization and technology and all of the things that are happening push us into more and more boxes of I'm a this, I believe that, I wear these 4 patches on my arm, this is who I am, and I only listen to the news that will support these 4 things, and I will only listen to people who wear the exact same patches as me and have the exact same identifiers as me, and this is how I'm going to live my life. Right? That's where we are being pushed. And in the Torah this morning, the Israelites are actually divided up by their ancestral tribes. And they are arrayed around the ark as it travels through the desert, right? There's 12 of them, and they get put into different sections, and they are all given, says the rabbis, flags. Right? The epitome of knowing that you're in a group that only you belong to, you got a flag. A flag that says who you are and what you believe. And the rabbis imagine in the Midrash, each of those flags, again, sort of a la Game of Thrones, had a specific color and a specific device on it. And Judah was blue, and it had a lion, and Reuben was red, and it had, I don't remember. But these things are important to those people. I guess I'm not a Reuben guy. And the people were marching with their flags as they went through the desert. And we might look at this and we might say, see, we all got to divide up into our groups. We got to know where we are. Everybody with the blue flag, come to me, rally to me. This is my team. Red flags, you're over there. But it's not really a fun way to live. And it's not really a productive way to live either. And I wonder if we can find a way to live with our flags and also all walk around the same arc in the same direction together. Because there's actually something beautiful about this, the Israelites walking around with their flags. And the Kliyakar, Rabbi Ephraim of Lunchitz, he writes that in doing this, the reason why the Israelites got this idea is that they're trying to mimic the angels in heaven, who are also divided into different choirs and different choruses, and there's different kinds of angels, and they have different powers and different roles, right? Even the angels divide themselves like Hogwarts and have their different people and their different things. And so we want to be like them, and that's what we do. And there's something important about knowing who you are and what you believe. That's something we should be proud of. Whatever flag you have, wear it with pride. And I understand the drive to dislike the other. Because as much as I tease those Berkshires and Palmer kids, I get it. They're from a different place and you're from here and we're fighting against each other. It's basketball, but we're fighting against each other, and that's going to bleed into real anger. And that's something that's rather trivial, but there are very real things in this world that we disagree about. People in this room, people outside of this room, we hold values dear, and we should. And we disagree about important things, and that's okay. We should be proud of whatever flags we stand under. But Kliyakar finishes by saying the reason why all of the flags had to march together is because only by everyone being together do they actually emulate the heavens and God. Because the angels might be divided up into their different groups, but they all work together. And the Israelites, in order to survive and get through the desert, they all have to march and work together. And so we have options in our life. We can stand behind our one particular flag, and we can hate everybody else, and we can fight everybody else, and we can see who wins. Or we can try to find a way to proudly stand behind our beliefs and our flags, and proudly stand with other groups holding theirs. And that's the only way we can ever actually reflect the divine image, is if everyone stands and moves in the same place and works together to get through the deserts that we're in. Shabbat Shalom.